Forget Donovan Mitchell. Forget Joel Embiid. Forget Giannis. How long until Nikola Jokic demands a trade to the Knicks? I mean, woo-hoo, boy. Holy shit. I don't know. I don't know when is the last time that we saw something quite like that. Honestly, this is going to sound insane because it was, I believe, yeah, it's 28 years ago. It kind of reminded me, my old heads will remember this, of when the Knicks, shortly after Jeff Van Gundy took the job, faced the soon-to-be 72-win Chicago Bulls of 1995-96 and beat them by 32 points at home. As I was watching this game unfold, that's the thought that entered my mind. The final margin was actually a little bit bigger than that. The final margin of this game was 38 points. These Denver Nuggets are not the Chicago Bulls of 1996. They are, however, the defending champions. Were they at their best tonight? No, they were not at their best. It was the fifth game of a 5-game road trip for them. I'm sure they were very much looking forward to getting home. And it's okay to introduce that context into what we saw because the Denver Nuggets are so good that even on the fifth game of a 5-game road trip, they are not a team that you could fuck around with. And they should still be probably favored to win the championship this year. They still have the record they do. They went into tonight tied for first in the Western Conference. They had won 16 of their last 21 games. Nikola Jokic might not win the MVP this year, but he's having another MVP caliber season. We saw that tonight. The guy is unfucking real. So you need to beat that team. And most teams in the NBA, frankly, are not built to beat that team. The Knicks using and look, well, I don't know where it's going to go from here. I still think they're going to make another trade this season. I still think there's going to be they're going to try to make a major acquisition at some point. That's a conversation for a different day. With the trade to get OG Anunoby on this roster, they did something that, interestingly enough, I think it was fitting that this all came together. And now after this game, I think a lot of the national media is going to start paying a little bit closer to attention to the fact that the Knicks are 11-2, or excuse me, 9-2 since acquiring OG Anunoby. They did something that was inspired as much by last season's world champion Denver Nuggets as any team. You could go back to the 2012-13 Knicks. You could go even before that to the 7 seconds or less Suns, and then obviously the pinnacle of the evolution with the Golden State Warriors of Steph and Clay and Draymond. And this notion of like small ball, right? That's always the term that was used, small ball, because you had Melo playing the 4, and and then after that you had obviously Draymond playing the 5. It's never been about small ball. It's been about skill. And I'm not the first person to say this, God knows, because many have made this point before in recent years. But this game, the way it's being played now, is just about how much skill can you get on the court at once. And that is skill in every way, shape, or form. Obviously, shooting is the skill that has taken the lead in terms of what people pay attention to the most, which is why it gets often conflated with small ball, because smaller players tend to shoot more. But I think more and more what we're being reminded of, you could go to the 2020 Lakers. You actually could kind of go to the Bucks of 3 years ago. Obviously the Warriors won it a couple years ago. I don't think any team epitomizes it as much as last season's Nuggets. And they're epitomized by a 2-time MVP who is, for his size, I mean, when have you had that much skill and that much size in one package? And then all the way on down, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., KCP as your second smallest defender on the floor, really? And could do all the things that you need him to do, put the ball on the floor, shoot threes, the whole thing. And then obviously he's capped off by Jamal Murray as your one small guy. That's skill ball. That's skill ball. That's what it is. That's why they won the championship. They did not need to sacrifice size to get all that skill on the floor. That's why they rampaged through the NBA playoffs. So what did this Knicks team do? This Knicks team that went into the season where everybody was like, well, I like it. They're pretty heavy on guards, though. They got a lot of guards. They're really kind of small. Well, they went out and they took two very good players on their roster, including Emanuel Quickley, a guy who I don't think anybody watching this or who have seen Emanuel Quickley play would dispute that this guy is not immensely skilled. And they exchanged those players. They exchanged both of them for, it's unfair to call him the queen of the chessboard because he can't do everything. But as far as a piece that unlocks everything else, OG Anunoby's kind of the queen of the chessboard. I was texting someone earlier today during this game. I won't say who it was. But they're like, when's the last time we've had someone like this where you just put him on the opposing team's best offensive player and then not that you don't have to worry about that player. Listen, the rules, the way the league is litigated today with refereeing, there is no such thing as taking an offensive player out of a game. You cannot do it. But you could come pretty close, and you could certainly frustrate them to no end. And OG Anunoby, what he's able to do, regardless of who the other team's best offensive player is, and you put him on that player and just kind of be like, all right, well, that kind of changes the game plan. It tilts that aspect of the game plan in our favor, and then everything just works out from there. People always try to compare basketball players to other basketball players. The only comp that I could think of is Deion Sanders. What did Deion Sanders do when he was in his prime? You just stuck him on. Didn't matter who you stuck him on. You stuck him on Jerry Rice. You stuck him on. I'm trying to think of other receivers from that era, like Andre Rison, Chris Carter, Tim Brown. I'm showing my age here. Didn't matter. You stuck him on any of those guys. Like, all right, well, I guess we're throwing to the other side of the field today. That's what it's like now when you're playing the Knicks. You're just not going to go in that direction, whoever he's guarding. And if you try to go in that direction, well, there's pretty good odds there's a pick six going the other way. And boy, did we see that a few times tonight. So getting back to what I was saying before, though, this concept of skill ball. The Denver Nuggets, they laid the blueprint. The Boston Celtics of this year, and I mean this when I say this, I hope Porzingis is okay. He had a tough fall tonight, I think. I don't think it was as bad on replay, but because they've had a great year. They've done it too. Size and skill. They don't have any positions that you could attack on the defensive end. And yet all of their guys that they put out there on the offensive end have so much skill. So they've done it too. You look at the Timberwolves to a lesser extent because what's the most important skill that you can have on the floor is that orchestrator. And yes, they have Mike Conley, but Mike Conley doesn't have the offensive game quite anymore where you want the ball in his hands all the time. So it's this delicate balance. What have the Knicks done? Yes. Do they still have pound for pound the smallest, truly elite shot creator, orchestrator, engine, whatever term you want to use in the NBA? Yeah, he's the smallest one of that elite group, but he's still part of that elite group. And what have you surrounded him with? Size and skill. And when you look out there on the court and you see Julius Randle, Julius Randle made Aaron Gordon look like a rag doll on one possession there in the third quarter. Pound. Missed a shot? That's okay. I'll get the offensive rebound. I'll just go back up again. It doesn't matter. He could do that. There is not a better combination. Not non-centers because obviously Embiid and Jokic are in their own category. But like non-center division, where is there a better combination of size and skill, true size, power, strength, meaningful strength, #meaningful, in the NBA than Julius Randle? When you now add OG Anunoby next to that freaking guy, and obviously OG Anunoby comes with a whole different sort of, presence on the defensive end, and not to mention some fun stuff that we're seeing more and more of on the offensive end. Oh boy, some of those little middies, dribble drive, like we're getting into some fun stuff with OG Anunoby. That all made a big difference in the game. So Julius and then OG, and then Dante DiVincenzo gets to do his thing. Plays bigger than he is with the rebounding. I think he's not someone we've seen targeted a whole lot this year. And then obviously when you throw Josh Hart out there at the 2, would you love to combine Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart into one player? Sure, but then they'd probably be title favorites. So they just and then when you throw in their centers, I mean, my God, what franchise, what team has ever had a center rotation like this? And I think I could have started with the centers. I made this comp during the halftime zone, and it's going to sound ridiculous. I'm just telling you all right now, it's going to sound ridiculous, but it was the one that came to mind, so I'm going to go with it. How often do we hear players on the 1970 championship team talk about Willis Reed coming out of the tunnel? The second we saw him come out of that tunnel, we knew we had the game won, right? Because all of a sudden, Wilt Chamberlain, it's like, oh, you know what? We got someone to go against you tonight. Well, Jericho Sims didn't hobble out of any tunnels tonight. Jericho Sims ain't going to win any league MVPs. He's not going to the Hall of Fame. He's not going to be one of the 100 greatest players ever lived. But what Jericho Sims did do tonight on the second night that New York's original backup center, because don't forget, we lost our starting center back in the middle of December. On the second night in a row that their backup center could not give it a go. And you figure, oh my God, we're down Mitch. We're down Hartenstein. We're facing a guy who, like, if he doesn't get bored and decide to race horses full time, is probably going to go down as one of the 10 greatest players who ever lived, and he's at the peak of his powers. What the F are we going to do with this guy? Jericho Sims came out there from the opening tip and was like, you know what? He's going to get his, and Jokic did get his. He's going to earn it. He is absolutely going to earn everything he got, and everything he got, and Jericho Sims made his life. He made him sweat. He made his life difficult from the opening tip. I cannot say enough about how Jericho Sims and his performance on Nikola Jokic from the jump was such a massive part of why they won this game. And like, I don't know how many points Jericho Sims scored. I quite frankly don't care how many points Jericho Sims scored. It scored 2 points. You could argue he was as important as any player in this game other than maybe OG Anunoby, who was in a class of his own. So our centers, the Knicks centers are a big part of that. Precious Achiuwa, I mean, I'm burying him, but like I thought he had a really, really nice game. And all the way on down. And this is a team now, partially because of the concept that I just talked about, but also just partially like what different guys want to do, what guys are good at. It all fits together. And shout out to Fred Katz, who was on the pod that dropped today, and the article that he wrote, the column that he wrote yesterday. Because he nailed it. He's like, all these trade candidates people are talking about, you could do a lot of things with this team. You do not fuck with this starting five. You don't do it. Because why would you? What reason is there to mess with this starting five, which right now is playing as good as any five-man unit in basketball? And you look at it and you're like, all right, well, what about this isn't sustainable? I mean, you say, all right, is DiVincenzo's shooting going to fall off? I guess it could. This guy's been a great shooter since college. He's shown signs of being a great shooter all through his career in the NBA. He was a really good shooter in Golden State last year. He's getting great shots. And I think Fred had this tweet, and it was either Fred, Benji, or DJ. I get them all confused because they're the only three people who I pay attention to during games. I'm pretty sure it was Fred, though, said, like, they're making a point. The Knicks are making it a point to get set three-point shots. That is what their offense has been designed to do. And since Tom Thibodeau came aboard, he has revolutionized this offense in terms of their shot profile. It was the first thing he wanted to do when he came in here, and he did it starting that first year, and it's only gotten better since. But this was like a new level where it's like we're just gonna hunt threes, and they did, and how many threes did they make tonight? Through the relevant portion of this game, right through halftime, they were only making 42 point some percent of their threes. They ended up shooting 39.5%. Like, that's not crazy. We've seen a lot of games this year where the Knicks shoot 40% or around 40% from three. Like, they can do this. The fact that they are purposefully generating this sort of offense, and can they do that sustainably moving forward? Yeah, look, I get it. Denver was not defending at an A+ or even an A- or even let's be frank, a B+ level tonight. But what Denver is, they are still long, and they still know what to do and where to be. They still know basically how to execute on every possession because they've been together for so long and they've been through so many big and tough games. Their effort does not need to be maxed out. The Knicks were putting pressure on them. And how are they putting pressure on them? Well, they're putting pressure on them with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. And look, I haven't talked about it yet. I'll say it now. I mean, it should go without saying. Jalen Brunson deserved to start the All-Star game. I don't think anyone would dispute that. It's not even really a conversation as far as I'm concerned. That's why I'm not like, what am I going to do? Yell and scream about it? He deserves to start the All-Star game. Anybody who doesn't think he deserves to start the All-Star game is a fucking idiot. So he deserves to start the All-Star game. And that's because he's been one of the 10 most important players in the league this year. That's how good he is. He's more than good enough to generate offense. And when I say generate offense, I use that term purposefully because, yeah, he'll get his shot if you single cover him, and he'll make enough of him to make you pay. But that's not all he's been doing. And, tonight he only had 4 assists. His passing, especially since the OG Anunoby trade, has gone up a level. And I don't think that's because he's suddenly become a better passer overnight. I just think this offense functions so much better when you have a guy who's automatic from the corners and who, like, OG's cuts to the rim are just so freaking dangerous. So that opened up the offense in a lot of ways. So you have JB at the kind of the alpha, so if he's the alpha, I guess that means Randle's the omega. And we've seen teams obviously fluster Randle before. I think he's been getting better at it. I think he's been getting better at handling all that stuff. And he had one bad turnover in the first quarter. I frankly don't remember another one. I thought this was one of Julius Randle's best games of the season. I know he scored a ton more points, but his ability tonight and this is always what it comes down to with Julius, the balance between, it's not even a balance. How many correct decisions are you making? And tonight I saw a player who made almost exclusively the correct decision. And it was funny. You watching the game there in the third quarter, and I think it might have been the opening basket of the third. Julius had just a perfect place pass to put the Knicks up 24. I honestly forget who even hit the basket, but it was just like double starts to come, someone sagging off someone else behind the 3-point line. All right, Julius just going to rocket a pass, made 3-point bucket. Later in the same quarter, midway through the quarter, Julius had a drive that put them up. I forget what it put them up, 26, 28 points. I had lost track at that point, where he was kind of juking, and then boom, hit the lane, high off the glass, in. That's why you have to double him. That's why he commands the attention. So if you have Jalen Brunson commanding the attention, and then you have Julius Randle commanding the attention, and yes, I think it's important that Julius is taking more threes again. It was absolutely part of the equation 2 years ago, or last year, excuse me, and it needs to be part of the equation again. So I'm happy he's ramping that back up, because that will only help him, because then you will not be able to sag off as much, and just assume he's going to drive. So when you have those two guys, OG doing what he's doing, Dante DiVincenzo, one of the best off-ball three-point shooters or three-point threats in the league, and then you have name your offensive rebounding machine in the paint. I mean, where's the hole? Where's the hole? Where's the gap? Where's the soft spot? What are you going to do to slow down this offense? I don't know what the answer is. And then when you factor in the OG piece on defense, and then it slots DiVincenzo into place. And then obviously when we have, again, Sims did an amazing job tonight. Precious has been great on defense. But like when you get a Mitch or a Hartenstein in there to be your back line, and as long as Julius and Brunson are just giving it their maximum effort, that's enough. That's enough. And all of a sudden you look up and you see a team, and then when you get, I thought Grimes' minutes were really good minutes tonight. I thought his defense was exceptional. Truly exceptional defense. He drew an offensive foul that was key. DJ's always all over his point of attack defense, and specifically the screen navigation on the point of attack defense, which they will absolutely miss if they trade him away. Actually, that might have been Benji tonight. Again, I get them confused. But he had a really nice game. Finished obviously 7-11 from the field, 19 big points. McBride I think he knocked down his first 4 threes tonight. Where did that come from? My Lord. It all looks pretty good. I mentioned Josh Hart. I thought Josh Hart played a nice game, doing all the Josh Hart stuff. It's a really good team right now. And it's not just tonight. It's since the trade. And it is amplifying and perfecting and honing and in a way simplifying a formula that already worked and just making it better. So, yeah, pretty fun night to be a Knicks fan, to go 11 games over 500, to really, I think, kind of, if there weren't already raised eyebrows across the league, raise a few eyebrows across the league, be like, oh, okay, well, I guess this is a team that we have to take seriously. Now, could they go out on Saturday afternoon against Miami and absolutely like lay an egg? Yeah, because that's every team in the league, pretty much. And we saw, and how do I know that? Because we saw it 2 nights ago when they came out against the fucking Brooklyn Nets. And even before that, when they came out against the Washington Wizards, because this team is not above playing down to its competition. But this was a great reminder. And I'll end with this. This team now, and I'm sure somebody has tweeted this out, so I apologize who I'm stealing this from. I don't know. But Nikola Jokic won 2 MVPs in a row. Joel Embiid won the MVP last year. Unless he gets hurt, Joel Embiid is going to win the MVP this year. That's 4 straight MVPs. They went out and they played those 2 teams that had the guys who are going to soon own 4 straight MVPs, and they beat each of them by 38 points. Like, it's not an accident. This team could do that. This team is capable of that. And I'm really looking forward to watching them for the rest of this year. I know this is not the night to talk trades. Still excited for the trade deadline because I still believe that they're going to be a little bit easy to defend at times when it's the bench unit in the playoffs against the very best of the best of the best. So, we'll see about that. But, man, if you're a Knicks fan, obviously, if you're watching this, you're probably a Knicks fan. Pour yourself something tonight. I certainly did. It's a great night. Really fun night, and not any kind of a finish line. This team has obviously much bigger goals than to beat the defending champs on a end of a 5-game road trip in the middle of January or end of January. But this felt significant. So let's do it. Andrew Claudio, you want to come up here and you got any victory laps you want to run?
My goodness. And this is where I need your help, Jonathan.
Sure. I'll try.
So I'm not going to take 10 seconds to laugh at the Denver Nuggets, the defending champs, and
Please
deserve better than that. I'm not gonna. I have a lot of respect for the Nuggets. You're the defending champs. You're where the Knicks want to be. I am going to plug the pregame pod because I had the same pessimism that you had at the end of the Nets game where it's like, I got no confidence going into these next 2 games. The Knicks played horrible tonight. And I want to shout out Ryan Blackburn, who said the Nuggets were on their 5th game of this road trip, and I expect the Knicks to win. And I was like, we're not going to have Hartenstein. How is that possible? And very early on, and this is where you appreciate the Knicks and may get a little reckless as far as I'm concerned in your evaluation, stepping on the throat of a team that was due for a schedule loss. Now, schedule losses can happen. Like we saw the Knicks lose one against the Clippers earlier this year. But the bigger takeaway from that Clipper
And the Pelicans.
game, and the Pelicans, you know what? That's the other one. But the bigger takeaway from the Clipper game was, oh my God, look at the Clippers. And I think if you were a Nuggets fan going in and being like, this is a schedule loss, the other takeaway is, oh my God, look at the Knicks. And it's why, like, if they were playing any other team on Saturday, I'd be so ready to be like, how high can this winning streak get to? But I'm so terrified of the Miami Heat. I'm so afraid that this Saturday they're going to figure it out. So I actually have a hypothetical I want to ask you, because you share the same respect, maybe not the same fear as me as the Heat, but you definitely respect the Heat more than I do. If they had Detroit's record, would you still be afraid of them?
I don't even know how to answer that, because they were a Pat Riley team would actually, that's a lie, because they were
10-31 a couple years ago.
Well, not only I go back the further one, I go to the 2 years after the Wade Shaq championship when they started, I believe 10-40.
The Michael Beasley year. Yes. Yeah. They ended up with the pick that got Michael Beasley. Yes.
So yes, a Pat Riley team is capable of starting off with that record.
Point I don't even would they still be the boogeyman, and would I still be allowed to be afraid of them?
You know what? If Jimmy Butler's on the other side of the court, and to a lesser extent Bam Adebayo and Eric Spoelstra's coaching them, then yeah, they're still the boogeyman to me.
Okay. I'm glad you feel the same way, because I want this win now. I want to test how great they're playing against the boogeyman. It reminds me a lot of, this is the only baseball reference before we get to betting and sweating. 2006, the New York Mets ran roughshod over the National League for 3.5 months. The Braves were a 4th place team headed for 95 losses. They were still the 14 straight NL East defending champions, right? And they went up to Atlanta for one series, and I was like, you know what? They've beaten everybody else this year. Now go take care of business against the boogeyman. I want this win on Saturday, John. I want to get rid of the boogeyman.
Listen, we took care of the boogeyman in a couple of important games last year, and the boogeyman still came back to get us when it counts, which is why ultimately the book on this Knicks team will not be written until April. To that end, though, this Eastern Conference, I mean, it's been the theme. I mean, for me, it's been the theme since before the season started. It's become more of a theme now, and I think it's been emboldened by how some of these teams are performing, specifically the Cavs. I mean, you cannot say enough about what Cleveland's been doing. And I know I shouldn't have to tell you, because you're the third host of the Chase Down pod.
Clearly.
But yes. This moves Knicks into 4th. And half game up on Cleveland, and perhaps more importantly than that, 3 games up on Indiana and 4 games up on Miami. I like to get in that 4 or 5, you know, and I'm not saying Knicks can't beat Philly in the first round. I'm not saying the Knicks can't beat Milwaukee in the first round. I'm not saying the Knicks aren't capable of catching Philly for the 3 spot. I'm not saying any of those things, but whatever you got to do, whatever it takes, right? Cap, whatever it takes, get in that 4 or 5. And that's why, for as great as and exhilarating as this win was tonight, every win matters a lot for this team.
And I think the reckless side of me is agreeing with you. The 4 or 5 would be great, but I'm starting to broaden my horizons a bit. And the every win being important, maybe because we want to host Milwaukee in that second round series, not have to go to Milwaukee for Game 7.
One step at a time. They have a lot of ground to make up. But you know what the nice thing is? I don't have to sit here and feel like I'm pandering to a pie in the sky that is not real, because I mean it in my bones. What OG does for this team and this defense, it's game changing. And who the fuck wants to play this team with this friggin' guy out there running around doing who would want that? They might be like, all right, we can beat the Knicks, but who's looking forward to it? Like who's like, yes, this is what we want to do for the next 2 weeks.
Well, you know what it is? Like, you compared him to Dion, and I'll take it a step further. It's like if Dion was also Randy Moss. Like, he also has an impact on the offensive end
No, he
that
does.
is pretty elite and makes
Yeah.
everybody better and makes defenders like
Yeah.
to honor him. That it's they've gone to a different tier. I don't know where they are in this next tier. I don't know like if they're at the bottom of the second tier, but
it's the
my
size
goodness.
again, because it's the size, because you have to honor his size. And again, the little flashes of skill that he showed tonight, not just tonight, he obviously he's done this throughout his whole career. Like there's a reason the guy has pined for a little bit more on-ball opportunities. It's because he can do some stuff. I know he's not great, he's not the best wiggle in the world, but he can do some stuff. And which is and the last thing, we'll move on. I genuinely do feel bad thinking to myself in the back of my head, man, I want to get one more piece. Especially since Grimes had a great night tonight.
You're allowed to think that way, though, because this is the new acceptance that we have. This is a new reality that the Knicks have. We're not just like okay with the 4-5. That's how good I think they're showing themselves to be. That maybe look, I don't want to steal DJ Zulo's take, but he's openly asking the question on Twitter: why can't this team make the finals? Why can't this team with 2 All-NBA caliber defenders and 2 All-Stars on it, like why can't that team make the finals? And you know what? The time to ask a potentially reckless question like that is after you beat the defending champs by 38, 2 weeks after you beat the runner-up in MVP, or the reigning MVP, on his way to his second MVP in his building by 36. They're two biggest wins by margin outside of whatever the Blazers game was, right? It is Nuggets
and Julius.
Julius
didn't even play well in the Philly game, which is what's really wild. If Julius is going to play like this. If Julius is going to play, he's the key.
Mm-hmm.
We know what Brunson's going to give. If Julius is going to play like this, again, love what Sims did tonight. Adore what Sims did tonight. Adore what Precious has been doing. Get both centers back.
You do probably got to make a move. That's where I do join you. And they do need to make one move.
Fighting
even
it.
He said
I'm fighting it.
Why can't they make a small? They don't have to go get DeJounte Murray or even.
No, please don't get DeJounte.
No, they don't. But again, to Fred's point, they have something that's not just working. It's working like at the top 100th percentile of the league.
No, they need a touch more juice. So to put a little bit more pressure, because we've seen it before. God knows we saw it on the Cleveland series, we saw the Miami series. Playoff basketball, it bogs down. Doesn't matter what your team. It doesn't matter who your team is. Unless you're going to be in a series like Kings Warriors, where both sides just said fuck it. Most of the time, playoff basketball bogs down, and it's like, where's the juice coming from, right? Because we're feeling a little low right now. Need a little bit more. That's and then you want to tell me, hey, I'll take my chances against anyone. Fine, I'll then we could have that conversation. Because of what OG has done, and obviously because of Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle all the way on down.
I agree. And the fun part about what this season has now become is that every night the Knicks are a safe bet to give you a good performance, and potentially even a safe bet to bet them to win. Speaking of safe bets, Jonathan, shout out to the fine folks over at Prize Picks. John, would you like to read the ad read?
I would love to. So listen, the only thing more fun than watching the Knicks kick the shit out of defending champions is watching the Knicks kick the shit out of defending champions and winning some money. If you too would like to get up,
we're killing it with these transitions today. Look at us.
Go to prizepicks.com/KFS and use the code KFS for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, prizepicks.com/KFS. Use code KFS for a first deposit match up to $100. It is daily fantasy sports made easy. I'm curious where folks went with, or what folks went with tonight. It's funny. I made the joke the other day about how Jalen Brunson 2.5 threes is like stealing money. Only made one tonight. So let's see what happens here. So first one from GMAC. This is Jalen Brunson over 35.5 points and assists. Obviously, someone did not count on this being a blowout.
I did not realize that he wasn't going to play the fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson played 27 minutes tonight.
Brunson 27, DiVincenzo 26. It's funny. I was watching DiVincenzo out there with like 5 minutes left, and he's still out there. I'm like, what are you still doing out there? Because he hadn't played any minutes. Somehow Randle still gets to 30 though. All right, Nikola Jokic XJ went over 47.5 points, rebounds, assists. So we're gonna see me do a little quick math. 31 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. That total is 45. So XJ just misses.
Just missed.
Can
it's
I
a
just
bad beat? It's a bad beat.
15 seconds? I know Jokic just scored 70.
Actually, Embiid just scored 70.
Embiid just scored 70. You know what? I'm not gonna. How about we do this? This is gonna be wild. When's the last time that we've had 2 centers in the league playing as well as these 2 guys are right now?
Got back to the 90s, right?
So that's the obvious is like, well, at some point during the 90s, 2 players, like when, as I've brought up many times, as I rant and rave about the new All-NBA rules, once upon a time, Patrick Ewing, 4th in MVP, did not make All-NBA because he played what position? Center. And the 3 best players in the league ahead of him played center. I guess then when Olajuwon, Shaq, Robinson, and Ewing were, when Jordan was retired, arguably 4 of the 5 best players in the sport playing the same position.
That's the year I'm going back to, like Olajuwon, Robinson, Shaq, Ewing, and that like doesn't include Alonzo.
Alonzo, Dikembe, Rick Smits. So, but man, what these 2 guys are doing, wild stuff. Really, truly wild stuff. He was great. I mean, Jokic, you can't stop Jokic. You just have to make his life tough.
Well, it's funny. Jokic not only left the game because he got hit in the eye by DiVincenzo, and didn't play the fourth quarter, and still only missed hitting 47.5 points, rebounds, and assists by 4.
No, the guy. I mean, the guy's unreal. I don't know what else to say about Jokic. Aaron Gordon, from Sean with a W, more than 8 rebounds and assists. Is that?
Yes. Oh, this is annoying. Rebounds and assists. Go ahead. Go to the numbers. Count it.
That's going to be 5 rebounds, 2 assists for a total of 7. That's another bad beat.
Very bad beat. 2 very bad beats. And like it's a good bad beat because the Knicks blew out the defending champs that didn't play in the fourth quarter.
Yes. But thankfully we're going to have a win here because this is, I can't even read what it says. Dante DiVincenzo over 15.5 points and something. It doesn't matter what the something
and rebounds,
is. Because he had 16 points. And 3 rebounds to boot. Another great game from DiVincenzo. I wax poetic about OG Anunoby, and I know we're going 40 minutes on the monologue, so I'm gonna say this extremely brief.
You're good.
What DiVincenzo unlocked with this offense, and this is gonna, I don't mean this to come off as a put down to Quentin Grimes, but in terms of an off-ball threat and everything that is entailed with what is required of him from that spot, what DiVincenzo has done to unlock this offense, it might not be on par with what OG has done to unlock the defense, but it's damn close. I mean, you just throw it to the guy with anywhere within 30 feet of the basket, and if he has any space, he's firing, and half the time he's making or whereabouts. It's wild. So kudos to Dante DiVincenzo.
I agree. And it's why the what's it called? The fact that hold on a second. I'm adjusting layouts as we do this. It's why like Quentin Grimes is not indispensable. Like I do think there is an important role for him should he stay on this team the rest of the year. It's part of the solution that has been created with the starting 5. Like that was the first move into being like, oh, this is working. Like this just has worked better than what Quentin Grimes was,
It's honestly, and I don't want to talk this way because he hasn't been traded yet. I kind of think he will be. And by the way, I think much like for Emanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett, a trade could be very much the best thing for Quentin Grimes. It's not about the talent. It's about the use of resources. Because if you have a Dante DiVincenzo who should absolutely be playing 24 minutes every night, and if you do want to have that pivot to go with some more size at the 2 and everything that entails, which currently is represented by Josh Hart. We'll see if they trade for someone else. Maybe it'll be represented by somebody else. The number of minutes that are here for Quentin Grimes, I'm not saying that those 15 to 18 minutes are not important. They're very important, especially on the defensive end when he's defending at a high level. But is there a better distribution of assets in terms of need for the extra creation juice that I was talking about earlier? I just realized I used the term creation juice, and I've been told to perhaps not use that term. I couldn't imagine why.
By whom, Steph?
What?
By who?
No one in particular. So I don't know, but I appreciated Fred coming on the pod and saying, like, I wouldn't give up Quentin Grimes in a deal for Bruce Brown because, like, again, if you're going to give that guy up, you better give him up for a piece that you know is going to solve. I feel bad saying solve your issues because the team won by 38 tonight. They don't have too many issues, but fill a specific need that's an important need.
I agree.
All right.
That's why I also said thing. Last thing, go ahead. Read the promo code, and then we have one more thing before we get to Super Chats.
Go to prizepicks.com/KFS. Use code KFS for a first deposit match up to $100. Daily fantasy sports made easy.
And then, of course, we have to play this after every win, John.
This is why they're winning.
This undefeated since this game. Since we saw this.
It pains me that we can't hear the music because we got tagged with a copyright infringement thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love the song. That's the thing. It's like this is one of my favorite David Guetta songs.
There you go.
It's unfortunate.
And with that.
All right. I'm excited for this. This is gonna be fun. Daniel Carlisto starts us off. Doesn't pressure remind you of Ronaldo Balkman? That was. I tell you. If you're like, write down 1,000 things you think you might get to start off the Super Chats. A Ronaldo Balkman reference was not one of them. Ronaldo Balkman, I'm not sure Ronaldo Balkman was an NBA player. Precious Achiuwa is an NBA player. I think he has a really nice skill set. Like, Balkman was an energy guy. Precious, I think, has real skill. And he's also showed me something on the boards. He got 9 rebounds the last game. I don't know how many rebounds he ended up with tonight, but it felt like he got 10 rebounds tonight. Holy shit. So I wasn't imagining things. 9 rebounds last game against the Nets, 10 rebounds tonight in 23 minutes, by the way. That's not nothing. That's not nothing. That's more than an energy guy off the bench.
Had the Raptors game too.
He had a lot of rebounds in that one too?
He had 10 in that one.
There you go. Good job. Didn't realize that. Jesse M. Hello, Governor. Took me a second.
You gotta read it the whole way, like a Brit. Go ahead.
No, I can't do it.
Come on.
I don't do accents. I did. Hello, Governor. That's as much as you're going.
Try it, and then I'll try it too. We'll take turns.
You try it. I'm not trying it.
From Jesse M. Hello, Governor. Is Sir Anunoby the best British basketball player ever? I'll hang up and eat a biscuit. Ta-ta.
That's really good. Is Luol Deng British?
Google.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Luol Deng is a British citizen, and Luol Deng made a couple All-Star teams. So Deng has the belt right now. I think OG could get there for sure. Absolutely.
Luol Deng is from the South Sudanese British. So I want to thank my wife for constantly watching The Crown while I'm out there editing. So that's where I get the accent from, probably.
I've seen about 10 minutes of that show.
I've seen peripherally all 6 seasons, but apparently you pick some stuff up.
Thanks, Jesse. Q left blank. I still can't believe we got OG. 27 teams would bench someone to start him. So much better than expected. That paint move. Yeah, which paint move? He had a few tonight, I thought. I think you're talking about the one, the pretty finger roll off the glass where he momentarily body swapped with Jalen Brunson. That was a Benji tweet. Hashtag barbecue chicken nuggets. So you say 27 teams would bench him to start him. I'm trying to think of which teams would not bench him. So I guess the Celtics or would not bench someone to start him. The Celtics. I gotta tell you, Q. I'm assuming the Celtics are one of the teams who you're leaving out. I kind of think the Celtics might bring Drew Holiday off the bench if they had OG Anunoby. I know that sounds insane, but I think they might bring Drew Holiday off the bench if they had OG, and start Jaylen Brown at shooting guard. I'm trying to think what other team you're thinking of. I honestly I'm not sure there's any team that like even Denver. Like, is Denver a better team if OG is starting in place of Michael Porter Jr.? I think that's a fair question. Yeah, man, he's there was a reason why I reacted the way I did the day of the trade, and it's because I had a feeling that it was going to look like this and feel like this. There's a reason I've been obsessed with him and why like a lot of people who read me and follow me are like, why do we always have to go back to OG Anunoby as like the trade target? Well, we're seeing why. Thanks, Q Left Blank. Josh, so focused. Nice job on the halftime tonight. Knicks don't have a 1A. Are we sure about that? But they beat the last two MVPs by 30 plus in January. Something don't add up. Oh, I get what you're saying. You're calling out people who say the Knicks don't have a 1A. Offer the full kitty for Mikal Bridges and see if Brooklyn says no. Man, I wonder if they haven't. How do you know they haven't offered everything for him? The Mikal situation is interesting to me, and again, I want to keep this focused on the team that we have here, but it's like this season has gone about as disastrous for the Brooklyn Nets as you can imagine, and all of a sudden we are 2 years away from Mikal Bridges' unrestricted free agency, which he will hit because he's not going to extend because under the current rules, they can't extend him for his market value. So we always say like 2 years, right? 2 years out is when players start kind of futzing around for trades. Something worth keeping an eye on this summer. Does Mikal Bridges raise a little bit of a stink? And how do the Nets respond if he does? Thanks, Joe. Haitian Ferg, my man. Are y'all ready to jump out the window? Yes, I'm jumping out the window tonight. Why fight it? I believe. No, I am. This team has got me hyped. Defense on point, offense on point. Tibbs comb over on fleek. We lit. Let me give a shout out to my coach. The challenge on OG Anunoby's second foul might have been his best moment of the season for Tibbs. That challenge, and I got to tell you, it seems silly to bring it up now, but Tibbs that's right. It was in the end of the second quarter. It was the Nuggets 6-0 run. After Jokic gets poked in the eye, makes 2 free throws. Next 2 Knicks possessions, decent Brunson shots, but that he got switched onto Aaron Gordon, which is not a matchup advantage because like Brunson's awesome, but Aaron Gordon's great freaking defender. Stagnant possessions. Like, what do we need to take those shots there? Will we be getting whatever we want on offense? All of that, and I thought actually the defense was fine for the rest of that little run, but it was a 6-0 run. Tibbs calls timeout. How do they close the half? They close the half on a 10-2 run. Massively important timeout there, I thought. So, yeah, good job by Tibbs. Good job by you, Haitian Ferg. TJ Davis, what's going on? This was ridiculous. A true team win. Smoking the champs on our home floor by 30 plus without our 2 best bigs. It's amazing how that's the best compliment you could give Sims and Achua is like not once. Maybe a little bit on the glass with that because Denver did kind of clean up on the offensive glass. I'll give them that. Especially in the first quarter, they got 6 offensive rebounds in the first quarter. And they ended up getting 13 for the game. Other than that, was there one time tonight where you were like, man, the Knicks are missing their centers tonight? No. What a testament to Sims and Achua that we didn't have to say that at one point tonight. Shout out to Sims and Achua for holding it down. Let's fucking go Knicks. Amen to that. I love it. Robert W. Cross, he's making his way back in bit by bit. I wonder if he's getting a little bit more excited about this team, even though his boys are playing in Toronto. It's your boy John. Is it fair and reasonable to say that the Knicks are a dark horse title contenders? That the Knicks are dark horse title contenders? If so, can we get a KFS party bus for key playoff games? I mean, it's been a long time since I've been on a party bus. Robert, are you coming to New York for the party bus? If you're coming to New York, then we could talk about the party bus. Are they dark horse title contenders? You know, you asked me this question a lot last year, and I never gave in. I didn't give in because I didn't believe it. I'm starting to believe it. That's how good this team fits together. There's talent on this team. There's skill on this team. There's character on this team. It is a Tibbs team. Absolutely, it's a Tibbs team. He has his guy. He has Jalen. Dark horse, to me, this is the definition of we're now moving into the definition of dark horse. You have your contenders, right? We know who those guys are. Denver, Phoenix, Clippers, Boston, Milwaukee, Philly. Those six. I'm not putting Minnesota. The next tier after that, there's a little tier of dark horse title contenders. We're there. Sure. Thanks, Robert. Always love your enthusiasm, my friend. Kevin Danishevsky. It's funny how often Kevin follows up Robert. The match made in heaven. Hey, remember when we lost to this team on a matinee by like 1 million? Let's take some time to appreciate where we are and where we're not going anymore. I'll never forget that day. I've told the story before. I watched that game on my laptop in a car in a Long Island, not a strip mall, like a corporate parking lot, because my daughter had a birthday party, and it was so miserable. It was just the most miserable thing in the world. And they sucked ass that day. And that's not even the only embarrassing loss we've had against the Nuggets in recent years. There was another game where they were down. They were like, the Nuggets basically doubled them up at halftime. And Jokic came out and had, I think, didn't Jokic have like 20 points in the first quarter or something? That was a game in Denver. That was, I forget when that game was. Andrew maybe could look it up and remind me of it. But that was another one that was just beyond embarrassing. So they've gotten us a few times.
Remind me what you're asking?
There was a game against the Nuggets. I'm 99% certain it was in Denver.
The We Here season?
What? It was
the We Here season?
No, I think the game he's referencing might be the We Here season, or is that the next?
He's
season?
referencing the Thumbs Down season. So the We Here season.
So then maybe the We
on
Here
this
season.
road trip at the very end of the year, and it started in Denver, and it was like if they could survive this, they might get the 4 seed, and they lost to Denver, and then.
Yeah, but was that the true? I think the team was bad. I think the team was bad. I think it was.
But then you're probably thinking about the RJ game, the one where Tibbs left him in at the end.
No, no, it's not that game. I'm telling you, it's not that game either.
I got no recollection then. Then we're going to Fizdale territory. And
yes.
Therapy has caused me to not remember anything from the Fizdale.
Look in the chat. I'm sure somebody remembers this. I'm pretty sure it's Fizdale territory. So anyway,
was it one of the last games? Like, I know the smiling emoji
that's the Bucks,
meme is the Bucks, but wasn't the game after that the Nuggets?
It was a game where Jokic, like, like dominated them like it was nothing in the first quarter. Like I think he almost outscored them in the first quarter or something like that. It was absurd.
We are officially on Basketball Reference. By the way, my dad remembers the last time you were on a party bus. My wedding.
I forgot that.
He texted me
because it wasn't there was not
it wasn't a party. It was a shuttle
Yeah.
to the venue.
It was a
and
shuttle.
there was a shuttle back to the hotel, which but to a reverend, that's a party bus.
Here, let's keep it going here. Thanks, Kev. We'll get that information. Hannibal Miles, I have lived through the days of Marty Collins, Felton Spencer, and LeVar Postel to get to where we are now. This is really fun. Yeah, that's your 500 yards of what is it? Shit smelling foulness, or I forget what the quote is. Before you get to freedom. And now here we are. We're putting our hands up in the rain, shouting to the heavens. It's a good place to be. It's a good place to be. Thanks, Hannibal. Phil, I'm right there with you, man. Truly. Kevin Wilson. Yeah, I got no words. Just here's some money. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody who's watching. Thank you, everybody who's contributing. It's a celebratory night, so let's just keep the celebration going. Luke Stone. Holy shit, did that just happen? Yep, it did. Did the Knicks really just destroy a healthy Nuggets team while playing their third and fourth string centers? This is wild. I like that people are bringing up the third and fourth string centers because I open with it's their fifth game of a 5-game road trip. They're tired, yada, yada, yada. The third and fourth string center, it's not just that they played with their third and fourth string centers tonight. They played with their third and fourth string centers against perhaps how many centers in the history of the league have been more of a matchup nightmare than Nikola Jokic right now? You could count them on one hand, And so they didn't just have their third and fourth string centers. They had their third and fourth string centers against that guy. And they are a team that is fundamentally built on the foundation of what they do at both ends of the floor is what their centers can do defensively, all covering ground, guarding the pick and roll, grabbing defensive rebounds, and then the other end with the offensive rebounds. I'm happy. Good job by everybody bringing it up, and bad job by me for not emphasizing it enough. Classy move, by the way. Jalen Brunson was asked about not starting the All-Star game. Here is his words. Congrats to Damian Lillard. That's it. Dame is deserving. A+ character guy.
By the way, Chad is confirming it's the Denver game I'm talking about at the end of the We Here season. I'm staring at the box score now. The Knicks lost 113-97, and that's with a fourth quarter that they won by 4. They were down 34-12 at the end of the first quarter.
That's it. That's the game. That's the game. Yep. Yeah. Okay.
That was part of a 5-game that was part of a 5-game road trip at the end of the year where we were like, if they can get through this, they'll probably be the 4 seed. And a 6-game road trip because the first 2 games were Houston and the Grizzlies. They won both of them. Then it was at Denver, at Phoenix. They lost both of them.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then they played the Clippers on Mother's Day, and they won that.
I remember that game. That was it was a low-scoring game.
106-100. But there's that, and then you were talking about low scoring. The next game was the Lakers, an overtime game that we all were kind of deflated at the end of it because we thought the Knicks had it, and they lost it.
Remember that.
And then they won the final 3 at home to get the 4 seed.
Yeah. So I didn't realize it was that season, but that's a good job. Man, so it's a couple times in the last 4 years.
Yep.
There you go. Luke Stone. It did just happen. John Childkraut. As an IQ devotee who's unsure how to feel, it's clear the revamped team is special. Is it fair and reasonable to say the ceiling is the roof? Yeah, I mean, I kind of just said it before. And anyone who's an Emanuel Quickley devotee, I don't think anybody's feeling silly about being a devotee and propping up his importance to this team. He was vitally important to this team. And they miss what he doesn't bring to them anymore in more ways than one. these games that have been against crappy teams that have been way too close and come down to the wire when they shouldn't have. Guess what? Those games probably aren't like that if Emanuel Quickley's on the roster. To say nothing of the fact that like the bench minutes have been spotty at times. But was it a worthy trade-off? I think you have to say it was. Yeah, the ceiling is the roof. I'm not fighting it after what we saw tonight. Anthony Sixto. They cooked the defending champs with our third and fourth string center. Another one. I love it. By 30. 38. Am I not counting correctly? They won by 38 points, right? Let me make sure. Let me confirm this. Yes, 38 points. The Knicks are the anti-hot take team. Give me more full court press in a blowout. Yeah, they don't. I said it before. They're a Tibbs team. And OG Anunoby is a Tibbs guy. Quickley was a Tibbs guy. I know people didn't always think so, but he was. And even RJ, like you know what Tibbs always valued? And will always value more than anything? Playing. Availability. Going out there, being available for your team. And Quickley was always that. RJ was always that. RJ was always available to give him however many minutes he needed. So not putting that down those guys. But OG, I mean, and a few people have speculated this, and I wonder if it's true. After Anunoby played all those minutes in those back-to-back games, has played quite a bit fewer minutes in the last couple games against Brooklyn now and against Denver, where in the first half of this game, OG really did not play a lot for what he's been playing. I wonder if somebody didn't say something to Tibbs, be like, listen, I know you got your toy. Santa rewarded you. It was Merry Christmas. You can't just play with it nonstop because you're going to break it. I wonder if somebody said something to him. I don't know. Thanks, Anthony. True story, Jay. All we need is Brogdon and a healthy Mitch Ihart. Yeah, a lot of people gave me in particular some crap for not bringing up Brogdon earlier on the pod with Fred, not talking about Brogdon more. I made a judgment call to spend a little bit more time on the guy that the reporting has, at least as I read it, made it pretty clear that is more who the Knicks are maybe more in line for. And that's not only Burks, but Bruce Brown. Could they still get Brogdon? Absolutely. Do I like Brogdon? Yes. Go read the newsletter I wrote about him 2 weeks ago. He was one of the first guys I spent time. I dedicated an entire newsletter writing about that guy and how good of a fit he would be. And all the reasons why maybe people didn't like him, I thought were silly. Now, does he check every box? No. Defensively, does he bring you what Bruce Brown brings you? No. As an asset, is he as good as Bruce Brown or a lot of these other guys people are talking about? No, because of the injury stuff. As a damn good player. I think he'd do very well on this team. And I think he'd be really happy to get out of Portland. And I don't know how many teams are going to be batting down the Blazers' doors to get Brogdon. So we'll see. Phoenix play Z. They traded for the best wing defender in the NBA. I mean, yes. Yep. Well, I mean, there's nothing else to say. Yes. Daniel Carlisto with another one. We unlocked this crazy version of OG when he's at the Garden. It doesn't show in the reactions, but doesn't he feel like he's great at home? I don't know. I haven't paid enough of attention to the home road stuff. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe Andrew could text his buddy who covers the Raptors to ask, has OG Anunoby ever gotten OG chance in Toronto? That must have felt pretty cool. When that happened, someone had texted me yesterday asking, like, what are the percentage chances that OG leaves in free agency? And I think I texted him back like 1%. You put that at 0% as far as I'm concerned. Like, they're not letting that guy get away. He doesn't want to go anywhere either. He doesn't want to go anywhere. Why would he? Thank you, Daniel. Alex, this was an incredible game by OG that deserves to be discussed for a long time. The defensive acumen and instincts are so special and one of a kind. I'm going to shout out my buddy Richie Weiss, who I think the day of the trade or the day after the trade was in our Substack chat, and we got the whole thing about, because I made the point that nobody's saying OG Anunoby's best player in the NBA or anything close to it, but the very particular skill set that he brings in terms of the ceiling defensively, the versatility defensively, the splash plays defensively, and then on the offensive end, never once will that guy get played off the court offensively because of how deadly he is from the corners and can do enough other things too to keep you honest if you're closing out hard on him or whatever the case may be. I don't think there's anyone else out there in the league that checks those particular boxes. And you saw it on full display tonight. He was the most important player in the game. And it was a game that Nikola Jokic played. So that says something. Daniel with another one. Do we really need a trade? Yeah, it's a fair question. It's a fair question. My gut says they do. I'm not totally convinced, but my gut says they do. Thank you, Daniel. Speaking of, it's so funny. I was just bringing up before, like Warriors Kings playoff series last year, choosing to play no defense. Right now, there's 6 minutes left in the second quarter, and the score of this game is 53-50. Talk about a different kind of game than we saw tonight. All right, Alex. Also want to commend Tibbs on his timeout usage. Amen to that. So many coaches are passive with them. He's not. He uses them to stop limit runs as soon as they start. Yeah, the criticism that Tibbs gets is he uses the timeouts and he doesn't make changes to his personnel. I'm the biggest Tibbs defender there is. I kind of like that because, like, it's interesting to me. It's interesting to me that one of the main criticisms of Tibbs, right, is that young players have vocalized, right? I think OG maybe said something of this ilk. Quentin Grimes said something like this earlier this year. So it's not without merit, right? It's not without merit. But, like, I feel like if I make a wrong play or I miss a shot or whatever, I'm going to get pulled from the game. I'm looking over my shoulder, right? Okay. And people correctly have criticized that. But then the flip side of that coin is, like, you don't always, like, pull guys if, like, the team is going through a rough stretch. Now, are there limits to that? Yes. Did we see those limits get blown by 2 years ago during the disastrous Kemba Fournier year when, like, it's like, okay, this is the definition of insanity. It's not that you're sticking with something that works. You're sticking with something that doesn't work, even though it kind of works occasionally in some circumstances. When he has a team that's solid and he knows it's solid and he knows it's reliable and he knows when they're playing well, like, it's going to work. I love the fact that during these timeouts, he doesn't change the lineup because it's like, okay, like, we could do this. I think that instills confidence in your players. I think it builds consistency. I think it builds good habits. So yeah, I commend them as well. Thanks, Alex. Greg Film Stuff. Thank you for the very generous contribution, Greg. Stunned New York beat Denver by 35 plus. I would be devastated if Brunson doesn't make the All-Star. Stop it. He's making it. He's making it. He's making it. End of conversation. If OG is going to put up 15 plus points in addition to his defense, this could be a very special year. This is the best ball Randle has played as a Knick. I just realized, I don't even know if Andrew knows this yet. Agree, by the way, is the best ball Randle has played as a Knick. I just realized I recorded a Patreon episode earlier today. And Andrew lost his...
no.
What?
You talked about tonight, didn't you? Like, Or
No, I didn't
like,
talk
has
about
it
Curry.
aged already? I haven't listened to it yet.
No, I did. I went through all the awards. I forgot to talk about Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. We could that might be a Knicks conversation soon.
So
We
could just do it right now because Greg Film Stuff brings it up. You know, if OG is going to put up 15 more points in addition to the defense, it's going to be a very special year. Focusing on the defense now, does OG Anunoby get into the Defensive Player of the Year conversation?
So this is where I'll shout out the casuals who, in the fourth quarter of this game that was not close, decided to look up the odds and look up the candidates. He is currently third at plus 1,600. Sean and I may be making trips to Jersey or Connecticut to enjoy said odds while they're still what they are.
Who were the two people ahead of him?
I believe it's Rudy Gobert and one other player. Someone in the chat, let me know. Wouldn't be shocked me if it's Bam though.
So historically, I think I went and did this digging a few weeks ago. I really have to get better at like keeping track of my own research because I forget it. But I think I went and looked back that the last player to win Defensive Player of the Year that did not come from a top 3 defense, we know him well here in New York, is Tyson Chandler. So for the 2012-13 Knicks, those Knicks. Wait, this can't be right.
What?
No, they weren't. Why do I have them as being 19th in defense that year? They were not 19th in defense this year.
The Knicks in 2013?
The 2012-13 Knicks. The 50.
Yeah, they were 19th in defense. Yeah.
They were.
Yeah, the year Tyson Chandler won DPOY was 2012.
Oh, that's why I'm screwing up. Okay, sorry. That was my bad.
They were 5th.
They were 5th. Okay. That's the last time a player won Defensive Player of the Year from a defense that was not in, I believe, either the top 3 or the top 4. So recent history at least says you got to be in the top 3, worst top 4 to really be in the running. Here are the top defenses right now. Knicks, by the way, after this game, up to 7th in overall defense, 9th in overall offense.
I can't wait to read the net rating.
They're 5th.
They are 5th in net rating, the New York Knickerbockers.
And nipping at the heels of the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
At 5, because Knicks are 5.5, Clippers 5.7. Celtics, Thunder, Sixers, the only teams that are out in front. So defensively, you got, here's top 5. I'll do top 7. Wolves, Celtics, Cavs, Thunder, Magic, Sixers, Knicks. Of those teams,
look, the way things are going, they're going to pass all of them.
Well, forget about passing, but of those teams, Gobert is a real candidate. It's weird. Did the Celtics have an all-defense candidate? A real one?
Looking like it's a team defense award.
Yeah. Cavs, same thing. Like, I don't think Jared Allen's like a real candidate. Thunder, I think it's the same thing.
So Chet is the second in odds right now. It's Chet, Rudy Gobert, and Anunoby. Yes. And I don't think a rookie's winning Defensive Player of the Year. So I actually do think we have ourselves a conversation that it's OG Anunoby.
Is Bam 4th?
Bam might be 4th. The Heat are 24 and 21. The Miami Heat are not getting a Defensive Player of the Year conversation. They're barely going to get an All-Star.
I think he's got a real chance to be top 3 at the very least.
Which is why a sportsbook should sponsor us so we can tell you to go bet for OG Anunoby for Defensive Player of the Year.
That's a good one. Anthony Sixto. Most players don't get rings. The small player thing is lazy. I like it. Isaiah, Stockton, Iverson, Clyde. Yeah, Clyde was 6'4", but it's fair. Curry, Peyton took teams to the finals being the best or second best player. Brunson is one of those ones. Why do we have the small player thing? Like, because, okay, whatever, Brunson 6 feet, 6'1". Okay. He's going to be targeted on defense. Okay. You're like, teams always are targeting small guards on defense, and teams with small guards, like every team, pretty much every team almost every team. There are some exceptions. So the Bucks, right, recently, they're an exception. They didn't really have a small guard on their starting five. The Suns are like kind of exception. Chris Paul is small, but like he was, it's still at that point when the Suns went to that finals, he was a top level defender. But like the Curry teams, Kyrie with the Cavs, the Heat almost always started a little guard or a little-ish guard. Usually one that could defend, but a little-ish guard. Like it's not like teams could win a title or at the very least get to the finals starting a small guard. It has been done for a long time. So the fact that Brunson is like 6'1" versus like 6'3" or 6'4", like who gives a shit? That's not a big deal. Especially given how hard he plays and how he throws his body around and all those things. Okay. You telling me it's because he's going to wear down? I'm not seeing that. So that's not it. And are you telling me it's because like what? Because of his height, he can't. What can he do on offense? What show me what he can't do on offense, especially now with the shooting. So I completely agree with you. It is a lazy thing. It is a lazy thing. Is it easier? And this is what Fred and I got into on the pod today. Is it easier to build your team out when your leading offensive initiator is a wing? Yeah, of course it's easier. It doesn't mean it's impossible to build a championship-winning team when your initiator is a small guard, as long as he's good enough. And by golly, I think Jalen Brunson might be good enough. So how about that? Dylan Courier. What's going on, Dylan? KFS is great. Thank you to all involved. John, the combo of passion, insight, and honesty makes you this is going to be very silly. Makes you the best Knick entertainer out there. Don't change, man. Listen, I don't even know what to say to that. Thank you. That means a lot. I know I don't show it on here, but like any person who is in front of like any kind of a camera of any kind or in front of a microphone of any kind is always going to have moments of self-doubt. I don't really truly don't care who you are. I can say this pretty much unequivocally. So anytime I hear something like that, people think I'm doing a good job and I should keep doing things the way I'm doing. That's nice to hear. So thank you. Appreciate you, man. Thanks. Sean with a W. Pat Riley once went 15-67. Fuck the Heat. The disrespect, Sean. How dare you put that out there before Saturday?
Make it louder. Make it louder, Sean.
Andrew,
for the people in the back.
Can you read the next super chat? Because I want to read this text that you and it's your fault because of what you're responding to.
I don't think
I'm not reading it out loud.
Okay, just making sure it's off the record.
I want to read it to myself.
Okay, you read it to yourself. The next super chat is from Sincere the Genius. Thank you, Sincere, for the I actually should be the one to read this one. The Heat never faced us with OG. That's right, and it's why, on behalf of John Macri and myself, they're going to win by 100 on Saturday. The Heat will be a 10 seed, and then we will be terrified of them because they're going to probably make the finals from the play-in.
The Heat have never faced us with OG. I'm excited for it. I'm excited. Like the Heat are not playing well right now. I know they lost by like 1 million points tonight. Boston,
33 to the Celtics at home after they lost to the Memphis Grizzlies at home without Ja, without Marcus Smart. Yes. I also want to just quickly, can I just apologize to everybody? We have 1,200 people watching live. Thank you. There are people in the chat saying they're trying to send in super chats and it won't go through. I have no idea what's up with YouTube tonight. We have no control over that, but thank you for trying to send us a donation. We wish we had a way to fix it, but we can't. So I'll just say keep trying. We're an hour 20 into this.
Well, listen,
we'll see how much longer we can stay on.
Tonight's a 2-hour night. I'm not planning on sleeping tonight. So I wanted to I've been tracking this and I did mention this on the Patreon pod today. Jimmy Butler tonight in 29 minutes, 11 shots. So Jimmy Butler has not taken more than 12 shots in a basketball game in, I believe now it's up to 8 games. Something he's just not asserting himself.
I will say this. I text Giancarlo a lot, especially when I get these Miami box scores. And I also been paying attention to get ready for Saturday to the Miami Heat beat and their post games lately. There is a hint of washed with Jimmy Butler. Now, this may be the Jimmy Okie doke that he's saving himself for a certain point.
Playoffs. He saved himself the playoffs.
Right, but you used to be able to at least show something during the regular season. And they said, usually by now, which is the point, is he at the point where this is like 2015 Paul Pierce, where all you have left in you is
2015?
That's how bad he's been this year. That's how they're saying that it's Washington Wizards Paul Pierce.
The dude got to the fucking free throw line, I think 16 times the other night or 17 times or some insane thing. He could still do it when he needs to do it. He just needs to bottle it up and save it.
It might be once a week is what we're saying. It might be once every other week is what we're saying. That's where he may be at his career, which is why we're terrified about Saturday. Jimmy's showing up with 40 points.
Man, no, but it's I'm glad you back me up on that because it's a thing. It's clearly a thing.
Yeah, that's from the people that watch the Heat every day. Right. From what I gather, this was what last year was, but they went on a run. Yeah. And now that team has come back and looks exactly as bad as they were last year.
Well, look, I'm excited to see. I'm excited for Saturday. I'm nervous about Saturday because the high is so high right now. You don't ever want to come down, right? The way I'm feeling right now, I almost want them not against the Heat, but who do we play after the Heat? Oh, we go to Charlotte. I want them to rest everybody in Charlotte. Keep everybody in New York. Don't make it so
nobody goes to Archie gets to play. Archie starts.
None of your players have to get on any plane for a month. So no planes.
Mm-hmm.
Air travel is very dangerous. Sit everybody. Lose that game. I don't want to. I want to just keep the vibes going.
I will say they apparently added. I know they have a roster spot open. I think they have a roster spot open, but they added another player tonight. Yeah, they had another player tonight. He was sitting on the bench next to Julius in the fourth quarter.
That was fun. That was nice.
That was hilarious. Randle sitting next to his dad on the bench in the fourth quarter of the game the Knicks are up by 40 against the defending champs is the type of disrespect that we used to get to us. Like LeBron and the Cavs flipping water bottles. And we're having bring your kid to work day in the fourth quarter of a basketball game.
Very cool stuff. Gabriel Davis, how is the KFS team feeling about shipping Grimes at this point? Grimes, like this, makes me want to ride the season out, but sometimes the bench looks ... Better be the right deal. Here's where I'm at on Grimes. I think it's always a layered conversation. I think he is important for this team. Again, the point of attack defense. I don't have anybody else who can against small guards to slither around screens against the Jamal Murray, right? And stick with those guys and really bother them. He's unique. The shooting has been not what we probably expected. And that's kind of gets me to where and it's a two-way street because I think part of it is that Grimes is in his own head because he maybe doesn't believe he has a future here. And I think part of this, I don't want to criticize the organization or my beloved head coach tonight, but what happened? Why have you not? I don't want to say they've lost him. I don't think they've lost him. The guy was great tonight. He's playing his butt off, the whole thing, but something's up with him. So, and he was one of your most important pieces. So something about that relationship between player and organization is not where it should be right now. So can it be reconciled? Can it be improved? That's a whole part of the conversation. An entirely different part of the conversation is what can you get for him? Because as far as I'm concerned, if the trade is right and I guess this is the last thing I'll say on it, and I kind of meandered a while to get here, but like, I'm not so nervous that like we're trading away like the next Klay Thompson. Like, I like Grimes. I think Grimes has a real ceiling in the league. I think on the right team, I'm not sure how this team would be built, but I think on the right team he could start and play 30 minutes a night for sure. I say, and I mean that a really good team, I think he could do that, like a championship contending team. I think that's possible. A little small, and the lack of playmaking from the 2 spot will always worry me. So I don't think it's the easiest fit. I think the most likely outcome is that he's a 6th, 7th, 8th, probably 7th man type of guy on a really good team. So I'm not going to lose sleep, I don't think, if they trade him away. But man, if you trade him away, you better get something damn good for him. So yeah. Thanks, Gabriel. Hush Zoo. When it's dark, OG Anunoby is my light. Pay him all the money. They're going to pay him everything he wants. Don't worry. Thanks, Hush. Hush with another one. Usually I come here and show my love for OG, but man, he's been here for 14 games and he's really, really special. He might be our best defensive wing ever. Best defensive wing ever. My goodness. I mean, we talked about this the other night in terms of wings to make first team. Not brought up in that conversation was Anthony Mason. Anthony Mason was a pretty special defensive wing. I think OG Anunoby is the best defensive wing I've ever seen play for the Knicks. And like, I got to tell you, watching that dude defend, I've never seen anything like it. Haven't seen anything like it on the Knicks. Like, best defensive player I've ever seen, and the wing is prime Kawhi. And obviously there's been some really special defensive centers over the years. He's not prime Kawhi. Prime Kawhi was 1 of 1. But he's like, if prime Kawhi was a 10 out of 10, I feel like OG is like a 9 out of 10 or a 9.5 out of 10, something like that. Thanks, Hush. Jeff Guitars, how insane is the OG and Mitch defense going to be? Let's go Knicks. Like, why are we sleeping on Hartenstein? There are advanced numbers that say Isaiah Hartenstein's defense was better than Mitch. Like, now I don't know if I believe that, but either one. I think OG plus iHeart was great. That said, will it be fun to see Mitch with him out there with that length? I can't wait for Mitch to get back. I can't wait for Mitch. I miss Mitch. And I feel bad that this is all happening without Mitch because Mitch is a big part of this team. And they need him. They're going to need him. Thanks, Jeff. Hush with another one. Every year since 2020, there was a honeymoon phase during certain periods of the season. Legit, I don't think I've ever felt the vibes like this. Special. We're doing a vibes check. I mean, let's go back to last season, right? Let's go back to last season. Let's go back to the 9-game winning streak. Capped off by the IQ 55-minute, 38-point game in Boston. The vibes that night were as good as I've ever felt, right? These vibes right now, because of everybody starting to realize, like, oh, maybe Jalen Brunson is the guy. I'm like, oh, maybe the fit is so good. They're up there. They're up there, Hush. I like it. I like it a lot. Appreciate you, man. Hush Zoo with another one. I don't care. I'll say it one more piece. Hopefully off the bench, this team healthy is a dark horse contender. If not, legit contender. Best team since 99, ? They're a better team than last year. It's close, but they're a better team than last year. And I know I said last year, I thought last year's team was a better team than 12-13 team. 99, I don't know what 99 was the strangest team that any of us will ever see, for those of us old enough to remember it, because they were not good during the regular season. It's 27-23, and they could not score at all. And then they caught lightning in a bottle. Like, I don't know if I say that that's a great team. I think this team is the most complete. It is the most complete Knicks basketball team that I have seen since 1996-97. The team that Andrew Claudio swears his dying breath, many years in the future, his dying breath will be in which he voices something about how the 96-97 team could have beaten the Chicago Bulls if they had not gotten screwed by David Stern. So, yeah, let's go back to them.
Yes.
So, apologies again. I see you texting with Fred trying to figure this out. I don't know what's going on with those super chats. I apologize. I just want to make sure, are people like losing money?
So that's something that I'm going to have to figure out afterwards, because I just tried to send one in from my phone and it like said purchase successful and then came back with like, here's the thing you wanted to send, and then didn't show up in the chat. So I'm about to send one from desktop to see if it's just like the mobile app is what's acting up for everybody. So otherwise it might just be like a glitch in YouTube. And in that case, if we can refund people that have sent in chats that weren't read, we will. This feels like a YouTube issue, though. We apologize for the inconvenience tonight.
Listen, when we get through the super chats that are here,
you want to spend some time and just send in rapid fire things, and we'll
listen. I'm gonna call because I'm feeling good tonight. Let's do the honor system. If you sent in a super chat that did not get through, just like type in the chat, super chat, and make your comment, and then I'll stay here until we get through all those.
Okay. I will look for super chat in the chat, and again, honor system. And I will, and we don't lie to each other. We're Knicks fans. We don't lie to each other. Okay.
And for people trying to send in super chats, stop trying to do it because apparently it's not working. So stop trying to give us your money. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. Tonight's not about super chats.
Yes.
But yeah,
first one, Dan Hidalgo apparently sent this in, and it didn't get through. So we started here.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Gee, it's crazy how much just adding one player, OG, can change a team. We're so much more physical. Done doubting Leon. Yeah, sure. Let's praise Leon. Leon Rose, not perfect. No executive is. Go look at the record of any executive, and they will have a major blunder somewhere on their resume. Not a minor one. If you've been doing this for long enough in the NBA, you will have a major blunder somewhere on your resume. I'll be curious what we look back on and think what Leon's major blunder is. But man, that dude's been patient. He has been. Is there a tougher combination in the NBA when you're running a basketball team than patience and opportunism? He's been both.
Just want to say a quick thing to Dan personally. Dan is a Buffalo Bills fan, and
I'm so sorry.
Listen, you're in my division, and I got my laughs off at your expense or your team's expense on Sunday. We get frustrated as Knicks fans and other teams that we root for being like, oh, we never win the big one. We have heartbreaking losses. There is no more tortured fan base than the Buffalo Bills when it comes to the way their franchise loses games. It's very Cleveland-y, except they got their 2016 title. So
is someone already clipping this game?
Yes, Benji is putting a thread out.
Jesus Christ.
The vibes are indeed immaculate. So, Dan, I'm glad the Knicks are helping you forget how your football season ended. If it could be worse. Your football season could have ended 4 plays in.
Thanks, Dan.
John was listening.
Josso Focus, 1 win, 3 losses, shy of Philly. # 3 seed hunting. I would love it. I'm not counting on it. I'm not getting my hopes up about it. Get me in the 4 or 5. I'll be very happy, man. Thanks, Joe. with another one from Ja. Seriously, McCall on this team definitely produces. # creation juice. I would love nothing more than McCall on this team. Although here's the crazy thing. Mikal Bridges on this team. And you know what my first thought is? Shit, that means we got to take DiVincenzo out of the starting five. That's my first thought. And I don't want to do that. How does Mikal Bridges feel about coming off the bench? No, listen, Mikal does a lot of things that DiVincenzo does. Obviously, he does more things than DiVincenzo is not able to do. That would be frightening if Mikal was on this team. Frightening. Herbie, what's going on, Herbie? I was at the game tonight, and the crowd was ready for this. In person, OG is such a disruptor. But all in all, it was a team win. Let's ride this out. Completely team win. Totally team win. 100% team win. And I love it. I love it because tonight was when we went into tonight, all the focus was on Jalen Brunson, who's one guy, right? Jalen Brunson will never make it about him over the team. Other players, you don't think other players in the league would have went out there tonight trying to get theirs? I mean, shit, we just saw Karl-Anthony Towns lose his team basketball game because of that type of mentality. Please keep Karl-Anthony Towns away from my basketball team. Ryan Huang, what's going on, Ryan? First time, long time. We'll take the schedule win, but we certainly didn't need it. We'll suck when Grimes is traded. He will be great in a better situation. I think he will be very good. I think he will be better elsewhere if he is traded elsewhere. I think if he's traded, I think you'll see him in a situation, I would assume, where they'll give him a lot of minutes. They'll get him a lot of shots. I think it'll ease his mind. I think he will play better. All of those things. No disagreement. Do I think there is a world where it is smart to move him in the right trade? I do. I don't know if that trade will materialize. So I think listen, you could argue for as well as Leon has done, you could argue that his toughest decision, his toughest decision may be coming up at this trade deadline. Say that. Jessica, what's going on, Jessica? This fucking team. Let's go, Knicks. What a long, strange trip it has been. Also, I teased GMAC this morning. Nothing but love for Andrew. Let's go, Knicks. You always worry that you're going to offend someone, Jessica. You're the kindest person in the world. No, I don't even know what you're talking about, but you're muted, Andrew.
No offense taken, Jessica. And I hope me doing show and giving John a hard time for an asinine Bruce Brown take and us going back and forth didn't offend you either.
I have no bad takes. I have never erred in my entire life.
Never?
No.
You've always had meaningful takes here at Knicks Film School. It's because of your it's because of your media training.
Go grab a towel. Thank you, Jessica. Busy, what's going on, Busy? I know you had one more comment today in a DM. I need to get back to you. It turned into a bit of a busy day. Denver had a fun night out on the town. Guess they thought they was playing Brooklyn. Yeah, where Brooklyn at? Got a rude awakening when they pulled up to the Garden. That was a bit of a Boston accent. I don't know why I did that. Yeah. Knicks are a good basketball team. Don't fuck around and play the Knicks and hope to win. At least. Thank you, Busy. Robert W. Cross, legend of GMAC. Did you hear on It's Your Boy John and the party bus comment? No, he fell asleep for that one, Robert. What?
That's for Robert. I literally hear everything.
He has headphones on.
In fact,
do you have headphones on, Robert?
An additional Claudio heard it, which is why we reminded John the last time he was on a party bus was my wedding.
It was not a party bus. There was no partying going on the bus.
Look from the perspective of Pastor Claudio.
Did I even have an alcoholic beverage in my hand during that party bus ride?
On the way back.
I don't remember the ride back.
Because you had an alcoholic beverage in your hand.
Please rate, subscribe, and review.
Yeah, and there's a lot of fun going on at my wedding. I'll tell you that much.
Thank you, Robert.
Well,
Thank you so much. Busy. Grimes for Moody. Would you do it? No, I wouldn't do it. I don't know why I dismissed that so out of hand. Moses Moody's a good player, but like, why would you trade Grimes for like his exact archetype? That would just seem strange to me. I don't know. I guess under the theory like both guys should change the scenery. I honestly haven't watched enough of the Warriors to make an intelligent comment on Moses Moody. I know he's like, there were times this year where he fell out of the rotation. I don't know what that says. No, I think if they make a trade, they're going to trade for someone who could kind of run a unit. Thanks, Busy. Robert Cross with another one. Legend of GMAC. Can you see if some of my super chats didn't get through during the years and send a refund? No.
Robert, it's good. It's good to see you joking around. This is funny.
It's nice
anything
that
that says hashtag 53 wins will refund you, Robert. How's that?
There it is.
Then there was this one, just a test from Knicks Film School. Hey there, Knicks fans. And then we get to the super chats that didn't get through.
Okay, great. Oh, that was nice. Sorry, Mike Malone said when he hugged Jalen Brunson after the game, "Hey, hope you make the All-Star team." Good job by Mike Malone. Danny Gardner. I told you after Brooklyn this team would come ready tonight, but wow. The McBride, Grimes, Hart, OG tandem is a terror defensively, especially if the other team is running through a guard. I love that you made that point. That's such a great point. It's such an important differentiator. I think the key for that unit, obviously playing with pace, taking every transition opportunity that they can. Vital. Grimes, I want to say Grimes' quick decision making is important to that unit, but at the end of the day, OG Anunoby, like we're seeing it, right? We're seeing it. We're seeing him put the ball on the floor. We're seeing him create. I think he has to take the reins. During those minutes, especially since you are buttressed by two players who are legitimate 3-point threats in Josh Hart and now, or sorry, Quentin Grimes and now Deuce McBride. And where does that leave Hart? Well, it leaves Hart like cutting and doing Josh Hart things. I would love that unit so much more if they had Isaiah Hartenstein in there. And again, that's not a knock on Precious Achiuwa. Achiuwa's been wonderful the last bunch of games. But to get the extra offensive player, right, out there in Hartenstein to help facilitate, I think would be big. So I'm excited to see more of it. I mean, look, and again, to the point that I just made a minute ago about the tough decision that Leon Rose has ahead of him ahead of this deadline, might what they do over the next 2 weeks impact whether they make a move? I don't know. It might. I could see it. It might. Jason Feldman, caught myself thinking, can JB be an MVP candidate if they pass the Sixers? He's got that dog in him like Fred Katz of The Athletic. Well, nobody has that level of dog in them. Fred is our MVP. He is the real MVP. But as far as Brunson's MVP chances go, look, I look at MVP stuff as it is I don't know if it's the most narrative. All of these awards are very narrative based. And when the bigger the award, the bigger the narrative has to be. And the bigger the narrative has to be, the longer the narrative has to take. I feel like this is the year before the year for Jalen Brunson's MVP contention. which is to say, I say that knowing he finished 7th in the voting last year, but he finished 7th in the voting, but he got like 3 votes or 4 votes, whatever. It was a very compacted race. This year, I don't see him, barring injury and barring some team that's up there right now really falling behind, I don't see any one of the top 4 falling back. And that's Embiid, Jokic, SGA, Giannis. I don't see any of those 4 falling back. There is an opening there in 5th. Now, does that mean Brunson is in 5th right now? No. I think the majority of voters would have Tatum ahead of him. I think the majority of voters would have I think some voters would have Kawhi ahead of him. I think some voters would have KD ahead of him. And like, Jesus Christ, listen to the names I'm tossing out here. Kevin Durant, one of maybe the 10 greatest players ever lived. Kawhi Leonard, when he's been healthy, he's been every bit as good as anybody over the last 10, 12 years. So like this is the competition he's in. So it's not, when I say I don't think he is going to make a run onto ballots this year, that's not an insult. That's the fact that this is like a wild year where so many guys are having MVP ballot, again, top 5. That's the ballot. Five names. MVP ballot caliber seasons. I'm sure there's another guy or two that I forgot to mention. Halliburton. I know it's a games played thing maybe, but like Halliburton is on everybody's mind. So he's really got competition. I could see him after finishing 7th last year or 8th last year, whatever he finished last year. I could see him finishing around that again, 7th, 8th, like that. And then next year, if the Knicks are somewhere maybe a little higher in the standings, next year being the year where he makes a real run at it. Not to win it. I don't know if he's ever going to win it, but make a run at it. Thanks, Jason. Juanon, what's going on, Juanon? Someone should tell the rest of the league that there is a storm brewing in New York. League is wide open. Why not us? 53 wins is the name of the Father, the Son, and the Robert Cross. That was a outstanding line. Are they on a 53 win pace right now? I think they're either on I think it's 51 and change. I don't even know what's his team's record.
You're correct. It's 51 like point something.
51
points. They're 28 and 17.
Okay. So we're getting there. Nick Knack, who's there? It's your boy John. What the fuck? What is TFT? Is this the type of win that makes the front office consider going stronger at the deadline to make them a contender? If so, what move makes them a contender? I don't think that move is at. Let me rephrase that. Are they a dark horse contender right now? Absolutely. Is there a small move that could push them further to contender as opposed to dark horse contender? Maybe. Is there anything on the board that would make them a contender, full stop, all caps, like before the deadline? I don't think that move is out there unless the Nets, unless they would actually listen on Mikal. That's the one. And they would make a trade with the Knicks, which again, they may never do. That's the only like I don't know what else. I don't know what else is out there. I don't think anything else is out there. Bernard Richardson. Is that an OG jersey, Macri? No, this is a Jalen Brunson jersey. I'll stand up again. So we got the city edition here. There we go. This was sent to me by a very good friend who I'm not going to say who it is, but very much appreciated. This came in the mail today, and I was shocked to open it. And it's the first jersey I've owned since Stoudemire. So this is pretty cool for me to be able to put on a Knicks jersey again. Thanks, Bernard. Anthony Sixto with another one. I think one of the lost super chats totally requested the clip of Jeremy dancing. Not sure though. Maybe I read it wrong. Can we get it up there again? We haven't really spent that much time analyzing the young ladies' moves. I like how they're playing off of each other because he's going more elbows and fists, and she's going more fingers and forearms. It's honest. It's very reminiscent of how well these Knicks fit together. And I just hope that this clip plays at their wedding someday. Andrew's just leaving that one right there. Kevin Danishevsky. Clyde made a good point about Deuce tonight. He could really use a floater. If he does, I like his creation upside. I talked in my super chat about the OG Defensive Player of the Year case, but you addressed that. Thank you again, Kev. A floater. Is a floater something that, like, have we ever seen a floater from Deuce? I kind of am okay with him just sticking with the middies because mid-rangers, he was doing mid-rangers in college. And like, I feel pretty confident when he takes a mid-ranger. I know he didn't hit the midi that he took tonight where he like saw all the space. I think that's probably what I didn't hear the comment. I think that's probably what prompted it from Clyde, where he had all that room in front of him and he pulled up and he just missed it. I feel pretty confident when Deuce has that shot. Someone to practice in the offseason, but as far as I'm concerned, please keep practicing the three-point shooting. Because if he keeps hitting threes at anywhere close to this rate with the defense, he's always going to be an NBA player. It might be for 12 minutes a night. He's an NBA player for 12 minutes a night. That's the thing. As for OG, I think Minnesota would have to, like, maybe not fall apart, but they would have to really come down for it not to be Gobert. I see an opening at 2. I was genuinely shocked before when Andrew told me that Chet was number 2 in the betting odds. Not that Chet hasn't been incredibly impactful, but like, I don't think Chet has had a Defensive Player of the Year caliber season. I think, but what OG's doing here, I mean, that's wild. Thanks, Kev. Jeremy D. The Bears.
That was really good.
That I could do. I could do that I could do.
Can I show you what Jalen Brunson put on Instagram just now?
Oh my God.
In reference to Da Bears. So you have to zoom in a little bit. But his wife, Erica Brunson, put up the score tile from the Knicks, which was 122-84.
Yeah.
And then he put up there, I don't know if you can see it. Let me share it a different way. Hold on a second. So, again, this is right after the game. This is on Jalen Brunson's Instagram account. If you're not following him, please follow him on Instagram. And this is what he put up. Shout out to all the Bears fans. My point guard got jokes.
I haven't addressed this.
Ooh, we're addressing.
I don't know if I should address it. I don't want to screw it up. I thought Fuddy had the best comment on this in the last day or so, which is like something along the lines of like, because there's been so many parts of this, and one of the parts was like, oh, you wouldn't do this if a man said it. And I think David Futternick made a great point about like that actually belittles the fact that she's just an analyst, and like she said a thing and it was an incorrect thing. And then I think, I don't even know if you tweeted this out, but you put it in our text group yesterday where you're like, if she just followed it up, I'd be like, hey, I honestly, like, I misremembered the playoffs last year. Obviously, Jalen Brunson was very good against Miami. No one would have given it a second thought. It'd be done. That's the end of the conversation.
That's what me and Fred were when we were reacting to the outrage or whatever, the Knicks fans reacting to her follow-up. I'm just like,
yeah.
All you literally had to do is say, oh, you're right. Like, I'm on TV a lot. I say a lot of stuff. We get stuff wrong sometimes. My bad, Knicks fans. Jalen Brunson's great.
I mean, I watch a lot of fucking basketball, but like I focus the vast majority of my time on the Knicks. I try to intelligently talk about other teams. It's not my job to do so. So I could sit here after a game, or I could sit here on a pod with you and be like, honestly, I don't feel comfortable talking about that because I haven't watched that team enough. Candace Parker doesn't get to do that because then she's not going to have a job. So, like, she has to say the thing. It's okay to get stuff wrong, and better would not be to get the thing wrong. Better would be the thing that you know is right, even if it's not the most insightful thing. But then again, you're towing the line of, like, am I being engaging enough? So, like, whatever. I don't want to get into that. The point is, her job is very hard. It's okay when you make mistakes. It happens. The tweet stuff was very funny. And then the last thing I'll say is, like, it's not an indefensible take to say that Donovan Mitchell should have been an all-star starter over Jalen Brunson. I don't agree with it. I think they're very close. And the fact that one guy has played almost 300 more minutes or whatever it is, about 300 more minutes more than the other guy is, like, to me, a clear tiebreaker. Not everybody views the sport that way. That's fine. What?
No, I think you're about to say what I'm thinking. So go ahead.
But, like, I don't even know. What were you going to say?
So the Donovan Mitchell over Brunson pick isn't what people are reacting to. Like,
yeah,
you
no,
said,
I know
if you
that.
go by the numbers, that's a defensible pick. It's that her reasoning was, I went with record, but you had Halliburton over Brunson, who is on a team with a worse record. And oh, by the way, has missed a ton of games.
And again, it's really, as look no further than me, it's hard to be in front of the camera so much of the time and, like, be engaging and, like, all the things and always be right. And, like, you're going to screw up, but, like, it's okay. It's okay to say something that is off. You just don't compound it.
And we should add, because I see someone in the chat mention this, and I do think this is something that we do, not that we get it wrong, but that we just, like, forget sometimes. Not everybody knows what we're talking about. So Candace Parker, one of the analysts for Inside the NBA on their Tuesday night crew, one of the greatest WNBA players ever.
Oh, absolutely.
She and to be honest, like, well, my response to it on Twitter was, like, what stinks is I actually tune in to Candace because she has really dove into the modern NBA and tried to break it down from how the way to today's game is played. Like with Shaq and Chuck, it's very much like, here's how I would have played. And it's like, well, guys, your size, now take threes, and your analysis is go in and dominate. So I actually enjoy Candace Parker's analysis usually. It's that during the pregame for Knicks Nets on Tuesday, she was analyzing Jalen Brunson, and they did the same, like, what do the Knicks need? Are they a contender? How do you evaluate Jalen Brunson? And it turned into the same, like, how far can you get with Jalen Brunson as your best player? And she then said he was good in the Cleveland series. Against Miami, not so much.
No.
Knicks fans heard that. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, he was actually outstanding in the Miami series. In the Cleveland series, you could argue he wasn't as good, even though, like, games 4 and 5, he was outstanding. She then clarified on Twitter the next day when Knicks fans got a hold of that soundbite. And what she said was like, listen, Knicks fans, I'm a Bears fan. I feel your pain. And then went on to make it about something else that no Knicks fan was upset about. And she was like, Iverson, Steve Nash, all these small guards never won a title with him as your best player. I just don't think you can win a best. Like, she made it the Becky Hammon thing all over again. I was like, we weren't upset. You didn't say that. You said something factually incorrect, which is that he was bad against the Miami Heat, and he was the best player in that series. And that's what has led to Fred and many other Knicks fans being like, and Jalen Brunson now saying, you know, how about them Bears? Bears.
Great. We should do it. We should put out a shirt about something about, like, but I'm a
Bears. But I'm a Bears fan. I get it. Listen, Candace, you got something wrong. It's okay. I'm a Jets fan. I can relate to it. I get stuff wrong all the time.
Juan Cruz, fuck the fan vote, TNT, Kenny Smith, and all the haters. Go New York, go New York, go. The thing that I got upset about when I saw all the voting totals is that the players voted Maxey second over Brunson. That bothered me. Because if the players put Brunson second over Maxey, I figured for anybody who watched the pregame, when the vote came down, I just figured the players voted Dame. They didn't. They voted Brunson ahead of Dame, which actually, quite frankly, shocked me. Shocked me even more that they voted Maxey ahead of Brunson. Not that Maxey isn't awesome. He is. But I don't know. I was surprised by that. And look, testament to the season that Maxey's had. He's been awesome. But if Brunson was ahead of Maxey in the player vote, then Brunson's starting the All-Star game, which is kind of annoying. But the media did the right thing, so it was good. Bernard Richardson with another one. Sims with his best NBA Finals Iggy on LeBron impression tonight, LOL. Precious stepping up and producing is so sweet. Still mad about Brunson, but what a win. Don't be mad about it. It's a silly thing. It's a fan vote. It's a fan vote. And, like, people have tried to turn this around. Like, Knicks fans should have got out and voted. Like, come on, man. We're a great fan base. I think this stuff gets... It doesn't come down to fan bases voting for their guy. It comes down to player popularity worldwide and player exposure and like all those sorts of things. And the fact of the matter is, like, there's a lot of people out there in the world and in the country who still view Jalen Brunson as like, oh, the Knicks did really well to get him away from Dallas, where he, like, good for him, putting up some nice points for the, like, people don't pay that close of attention. It does not come down to the fan base. Do people really think that, like, the majority of the people that voted for Jalen Brunson are Knicks fans, and like the majority of people that voted for anybody are like Pacer fans or Philly fans or Hawks fans for Trey? Like, come on, that's crazy. This is just a nation. This is a worldwide thing. It's a popularity contest, and that's unfortunate, but that's the reality. So nobody should get mad at this. Sam Garcia's dad. Since the Nets own New York, maybe they'll rent us Mikal Bridges. # just saying. That's pretty good. Yeah, remember that New Yorker cover? That was fun. How'd that work out, by the way? I forget how that one worked out. Nick Knack, who's there? It's your boy John. Nick Knack, like knock knock. Happy to be here. Love listening to the pod. My wife doesn't love it so much. I apologize to your wife. I hope, please DM me and let me know if there's anything, according to your wife, that we could be doing better to make her more engaged and entertained. I'm always trying to be better. St. Nick's NYC. OG is essentially playing the roaming wildcard freelance defender role that IQ is playing, except with more size. Burks looks like a perfect piece right now. I think OG's giving you quite a bit more on ball. I think the off ball stuff was more of the focus tonight because of the steals, and obviously Jokic is the generator of most of the offense for Denver, and OG didn't guard Jokic tonight. I think there's a very interesting conversation, and at one I would love to hear smarter people than me have about, and this is probably team specific, or matchup specific, but like, where is OG's value the highest? As the sort of player that you're talking about, or one-on-one? The issue with the one-on-one part is I think the one-on-one part, it changes. This is why it's matchup dependent, because like, is the number one guy who OG isn't guarding, who's guarding that guy? Is the center guarding them? Is like DiVincenzo guarding them? Is like Randle guarding them? Like, I think that part of it depends. As for Burks, look, I will always love Alec Burks. Perfect piece is a little bit much. I wouldn't mind him. All right, here we go. Kevin Danishevsky. Hey, Andrew, Joe Mauer's a Hall of Famer. How you doing?
Huh? I thought Joe Mauer was a first ballot Hall of Fame. Kevin, you were the one that was like, he needs to wait a couple of years to get on. I was the one that was arguing he was a Hall of Famer.
This came up the other night. I know I've been out of the baseball loop for a few years now, but like, I always perceived that Joe Mauer as a first ballot Hall of Famer.
So did I. Yeah, okay. Kevin, you're the one that needed to check yourself before analyzing baseball. Okay, I'm the one that's been on the train about how his peak was outstanding, and Ignore the fact that like he hit more than 13 home runs once in his career and never had over 200 hits and never had 100 RBIs.
Now I get it. You're being sarcastic.
And never like was basically a singles hitter in a power era. But like Kevin, I was the one that argued that it's okay. Honestly, like I apologize, everybody. You had to witness that, but Kevin, we'll accept you for this take. It's okay. Well, we're glad that you finally got to see the right thing happen, and it's Joe Mauer getting in on the first ballot. So we got 2 from Fred.
Baseball. Yo, GMAC, read my text did in Super Chat on the air, you monster.
Fred, I apologize for not reading it. As you can imagine, I hesitate before reading things that you send me now. So in the group chat, he said, what will be a higher number? OG Anunoby's plus minus from tonight or OG Anunoby's 24-25 salary in millions?
That's a great. What was his plus minus tonight?
It's plus 39.
What year? What year is the salary we're asking about?
I think he's saying what his annual salary will be. Oh, 24-25 salary.
That's important because it's at the beginning of the contract and not the end. And I would guess that they're going to do an ascending contract. The plus minus. The plus minus, because I think I don't really feel like sitting here and doing this math right now, but I will for posterity's sake. If we start at 35 and we go max 8% raises, that means year 2 is 37.8. That means year 3 is 40.8. That means year 4 is 44. And that means year 5, because you give me year 5, not on a max, it's the new CBA, 47.6. At which point he will be, I think, 31 years old. My only question, it's going to be 35. My only question is like, is it likely incentives that get him to 35, or is it 35 plus like all defense that gets him to 37 or 38? That's my only question. But I think OG Anunoby's making $35 million next year. With another one from Fred, he's going more elbows with fists, and she's going more fingers with forearms. Title of John's sex tape. So, Fred, you'll never see me have a sex tape. It's not going to happen because I am a happily married man, and we do not engage in that sort of pastime. I don't need that sort of kink in my life. Andrew's not commenting on anything.
Just saying nothing. What you and your wife do on your time is your business. You know.
I mean, no, we don't have to have this discussion now.
We don't.
No, we don't. It's a good title, though. It is
a good title. Yes, really. Totally. And one last super chat that came in. And thank you. We apologize, everybody, that the super chats weren't working tonight. We appreciate you sending in a ton of questions, and we're happy we got to the 2-hour mark with all of you here. Still 1,000 people watching live. Thank you.
Jesus. My argument is to all the idiots who voted Dame over Brunson. What is Dame better at this year? Enlighten me. Well, he's not better at defense. I know that. He's not better at creating or generating offense inside the arc. He's not better at pull-up shooting. Actually, I think that, look, I think there is a fear factor with Dame that defenses, like, look, is it smart for defenses to play off of Brunson? No. Is he making them pay far more than anybody ever thought he would make anybody pay over the course of his career? Yes. I think if you watch like Milwaukee possessions and you watch New York possessions, like there's still a level of respect that defenses give to Dame that will then open up the floor for Milwaukee that defenses don't pay to Brunson as consistently when he is out that far from the basket, and he will make them pay. And because he's making them pay, that's why his percentages are so high, because defenses don't respect him. But there is something to be said for what Dame does to open up their offense, because, again, that level of respect that defense. I mean, I'm stretching here. I'm reaching. I'm grasping at straws. But the fact that I have to sit here and grasp at straws, I think, is indicative of why, again, every media person who has revealed their ballot has been like Brunson's over Dame, and Dame's numbers are good. Like, look at Dame's scoring average. Look at Dame's efficiency. They're good. That they're good. They're not as good as he usually is, but are his points per shot attempt not better than Brunson this year? It's right there. They're neck and
only
neck.
because he's the thing that Dame has, that it's not even that is better at it than Brunson. He's just like more of it than Brunson, is that he gets to the line more and is shooting 90% from the free throw line,
and
which leads to his point per shot attempt being what it is.
Yeah. So, like, again, but to me, the fact that those numbers are there, and people who cover this sport for a living are still like universally like, yeah, Brunson's been better this year, that tells you all you need to know. It tells you everything. Thank you, Ed.
And we are done.
All right. Last chance for anybody who didn't get this. I feel terrible that the super chats weren't working. But thank you again. And thanks to everybody still watching. This was such a fun night. I'm so happy we got to do this together as Knicks fans. What?
One actual super chat came in, and then one super chat came in from Nick
Knack, who's there.
Again.
It's your boy John. No, didn't mean to offend. Wife doesn't listen to your show. She doesn't like me listening so much. Much love. Oh,
that's a you problem, bro.
Please keep listening.
Please keep listening. We'll try to. I don't know. Good luck to Taylor's. Is she a Taylor Swift fan? Good luck to Taylor and the Kelseys on Sunday.
My beloved wife showed more interest in a football game this past Sunday than she has shown in years. And she won't ruin for anybody on the field. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Go Taylor's boyfriend. Yeah.
Bopped you. Thank you for the contribution, my friend. Absolutely phenomenal win for the Knicks tonight. I really hope we keep the 4th seed the rest of the season. Also, it's now is it 126?
Yeah, it's 126.
Rest in peace, Kobe. What are KFS favorite Kobe memories? Thank you for shouting that out. Appreciate that. God, I'll never forget that day. What a strange day. Favorite Kobe memories.
Weirdly enough, mine is his last game.
Last game's up there. Watched it from my in-laws' living room, and it was on. I remember where I was, and I'm like, is this happening? And it was happening. I can't say that's my favorite though.
81-point games up there.
The honest answer for me is the 81-point game because the 81-point game coincided with, unless I really am misremembering this and just like making up my own history, I'm fairly certain the 81-point game coincided with the Pittsburgh Steelers winning the AFC Championship. Double check that for me. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna have to own that. But I just remember. I remember seeing it, that it happened. And I was like, I just remember I was very happy. That's why I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I remember seeing it, that it happened. I was like so happy. I didn't know it was happening in the moment. Like I wasn't like online at that point in time. So I couldn't follow it like in real time. But I remember seeing it. I actually think I may have seen it like in a newspaper the next day and saw that he scored 81. And I was like, holy shit, he scored 81 points.
You are correct. They beat the Denver Broncos the same day. And then that night, the same night, the Kobe Bryant had 81 points.
Yeah, I went out and got lit that night because I was bartending for the Steeler game. And I was like, we could have landed on the moon that night. I wouldn't know. But yeah, so I remember seeing it in the paper. Because I went out and got the paper the next morning because all I wanted back, again, I wasn't really online. So I would go to the paper and read about whatever happened. And so that's why I went and got the paper and I saw it. I was like, holy shit, 81, my God. So
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a ton of games that stand out from what I would remember. And like the Lakers were always because it's the Lakers, like it's still true now, but like the Lakers were always the night game on TNT. So when I was done with my homework, I was allowed to like watch TV until I fell asleep, and it was always the Lakers. And there's like a ton of games that stood out by him. And I think why the last game stands out to me more now is because of the context of his daughter sitting courtside and Gigi sitting courtside, and knowing what happened on this day 4 years ago, that memory stands out even more so. And it was like a weird night where the Warriors were going for 73 wins and Kobe was playing his last game on ESPN2, and nobody watched the Warriors game because Kobe, it was very early on that you realized, oh, he's taking every shot. They're just like going to find him and set screens for him to take shots. And then he found some efficiency in the last 5 minutes that, turned back the clock. So, his influence is all over the league, and his memory is lived out that way. So thank you for bringing that up, Bob, to you.
And I'll just, unless we have any more,
we're done.
I'll end with this. So shout out to Zach Lella, just put this in the Substack chat. Just looked it up on StatMuse, was wondering if anyone could confirm. OG plus 239 plus minus as a Knick. I'm going to assume that that's right, but I'm looking it up on NBAstats.com for the year. So this includes his Toronto minutes. He's plus 276.
Mm-hmm.
That is 12th in the league. The players who are ahead of OG Anunoby for the year in total plus minus, it is 3 Nuggets, Michael Porter Jr., Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and obviously Nikola Jokic. It is 3 Celtics, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White. It is 2 Clippers, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Perhaps you've heard of them. And then it is actually two Sixers, neither of which are Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey. And then the guys he's just ahead of, Anthony Edwards, Drew Holiday, KP, Gobert, Jalen Williams. Embiid is in 18th place. So all of the names that I have just read are players from the Sixers, the Thunder, the Celtics, the Timberwolves, and the Clippers. And then there's OG Anunoby.
There's your depoy case.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's good basketball player, that OG Anunoby. Okay. Thank you everybody again tonight. Don't forget to please subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on the podcast, do leave a 5-star rating and a review. Even if your husband just listens to the pod, you don't listen to the pod at all, you could leave a review. We will be back with more fun and games before you know it. Casual Friday, obviously coming up.
Friday was tonight because they were on the watch along. Yeah.
But I will be coming up with another post game, and you, Andrew Claudio, will be coming up with another pregame.
He's back. Giancarlo Navas joins me on Saturday morning to talk about these nasty Miami Heat and how terrified I still am of them. Also, by the way, we have a birthday shout out. Last super chat from Jeff Keys. Happy birthday to my wife. Figure I'd share with KFS. Shout out to you, Jeff. And shout out to your wife.
Jeff, that's I know the meaning of that.
Yes.
So happy birthday to your wife, and thank you for sharing that. Oh wait, is it Bernard's birthday too?
Yes, it's Oz's birthday. Speaking of baseball dorks, happy birthday to Bernard Ozarowski, my current former co-host of the movie podcast that we have no time to do. Outstanding father, great friend, Jeremy's boss. Like, we love you, Oz, and I hope you have a good birthday. I'm probably going to send you something in the next 20 minutes that wishes you a happy birthday. So happy birthday to Oz. We love you. And obviously, John has known you longer, so I'll let him say something.
I'm not going to say anything to him. Oz could. He's Oz. Whatever. All right. Happy birthday, Oz. Happy birthday to Mr. Key's wife. And happy birthday to all the Knicks fans out there. This felt like a birthday. We'll talk to everybody soon. Peace up.
Here's your birthday present.
There it is.